Hello, hello. Meow, meow, meow. My name is Teviot, and I am a co-founder of Cat Beach Sanctuary in Penang, Malaysia. And we're reaching out to the world on behalf of cats because we want to see as many cats rescued and saved and given their best life. And today's program is all about that, how we can all give our cats, our personal cats, their best life. So I hope you'll join me each Sunday. Sunday mornings, we are going to post a lecture and interviews, videos. We've got lots of videos, lots of slideshows. This month, the theme is caring for your cat. And that includes both the cats that you already have in your home, if you have pet cats, as well as orphan kittens that we see during kitten season, finding them on the streets. Many people find them. And the bigger picture of the community cats. That'll be a whole session about what we can do for the cats in your neighborhood. And we've got lots more information. If you have a question, if you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Cat Beach Penang on Facebook and catbeachpenang.com website. And now we're starting up this Cat Beach YouTube channel. And so far we've got about a quarter of what we need. We need 100 subscribers to make the Cat Beach YouTube channel. So I hope that you'll subscribe and help us. Then we'll be able to say it won't be just numbers. It will actually be, we'll have the a Cat Beach name for YouTube. So here is our business card, and you can see how beautiful it is at Cat Beach. It is a lovely place on the beach. You're welcome to come pretty much any daylight hours. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner, there's some green, looks like an island, but it's actually a point. And that is the national park, the Penang National Park. So it's walking distance to the national park. We've got all sorts of other cool things that happen in the town. Tropical Spice Garden, Escape Adventure Park, all sorts of things. But it's basically just a really quiet, beautiful little fishing village. And I hope you come to visit. So here's a little bit about what it's about. And I don't know if it'll play, but you can find it on YouTube. And we seem to be having some technical issues. You can make a difference for cats. Adopt a cat, donate, volunteer, and visit. The cats love visitors. And tourists, before the pandemic, people came from all over the world. Of course, things have been shut down, but the doors are opening again. It's about halfway on the Teluk Bahang beach. Very easy to get to. 6 blocks from the bus. Why do people come? They come for the beach and the cats. It's a no-kill sanctuary, nonprofit organization. And it's really the last resort. 2 goals: to give cats the very best care possible and to give people a special experience of the joys of cats. And 3 missions: a best practice cat sanctuary, an exciting tourist attraction, and an educational center for all ages. And there's so much we can do to help cats, to learn about cats and how to care for them. We love it when people come and make toys and cat art. You can pretty much paint a cat anywhere on the property and come play with the cats. They love that. And it gives them the kind of enrichment they need. You can make new friends from all over the world. These are some of the volunteers who visited us from France and UK and Russia and Brazil. Or you can just come and chill with the cats. This is the kitten lady who came to visit us. Groups are always welcome. And come meet the cats for a very special experience. We believe that cats are great teachers, and especially children really learn about compassion and gentleness and a lot of the good things in life. So come to Teluk Bahang on the island of Penang in Malaysia. And we do have housing if you want to come and stay with us and help cats as a volunteer. And of course, we encourage people to fall in love with a cat and take it home and adopt a cat. We want the cats to stay as short as possible in the sanctuary, but of course they can stay there forever if forever. So Cat Beach Sanctuary, we do have a mobile WhatsApp, the Cat Beach helpline, and please be in touch. We love to hear from you. So every Sunday, live streams or lectures, or however you want to think about it, webinars. We're going to do a recording and put it up here on the YouTube channel. I'll be the host, but I hope to have guest speakers coming in. 2 weeks ago, we had Dr. Wong, who did a wonderful program on social publishing and social enterprise and how his books have raised money for Cat Beach Sanctuary. Let's talk about cats. It's my favorite subject to talk about. How about you? Certainly would love to have you come. If anybody's interested in being on the show, please just give us a quick heads up. We're celebrating yesterday, April 30th, was World Veterinary Day 2022. Thank you to all the veterinarians out there and the vet teams. I think about the reception people, and I'm so grateful to the accountants who are willing to help us account for small donations that then add up to being able to pay off the veterinary bills. The guys in the back who are doing all the cleaning, and ladies who are doing special attention and nursing for the cats. We really are in such admiration of people who dedicate their lives to helping animals. Thank you, veterinarians. We have a special simplygiving.com appeal for vet care for cats. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about today is there's emergency care, and that costs a lot for us. And we see a lot of emergencies and maybe a 5,000 ringgit a month expense for veterinary care. But we also see that every cat needs basic veterinary care, and we're going to go over that today. We want to see the 300 plus or minus cats at Cat Beach have that opportunity to get the basic care. But again, it's going to cost some money. So we really appreciate your donating. If you're a cat lover, please come and volunteer at Cat Beach. You can help for half an hour or an hour, wash some dishes, sweep some leaves away, help poop or scoop. Come for an hour, a day, a week, a month, or more. We love having visitors. And as I say, we have a house where we put up our volunteers the travelers, particularly the backpackers. And that's pretty comfortable. But of course, you'd have to stay with cats, which is up to you whether if some people are allergic or they don't want to have cats 24/7 like I do. But if you'd like, you can stay for free with us in return for volunteer work. And we have an enormous number of tasks to be done. But basically, it comes down to if you have skills, housekeeping, if you can do some repairs, oh, we really appreciate that. We love having cats groomed, and 300 cats, we can't possibly keep up with all the flea and deworm and nail cutting and all sorts of things that cats should have. We love it when people make photos and videos, do paintings. We have a lot of records keeping, so we're data entry and that sort of thing. Lots of things that we can use some extra hands on. Please help us with your hands. And but of course, cats' comfort and care, that's number one. And that's wonderful if you can help us cut the cardboard and make scratching pads for the cats and hang toys. And it's really, you can make such a difference for the animals. So we will provide training. We'll look always for reliable, hardworking people. And if you would like to stay for a long term, please be in touch. Here's some students that came from, I believe, from Dyston College, who came out to help. And we love it when groups come. The colleges, Wawasan and Inti College and Dyston and the high school groups from Uplands. And now we've got this wonderful group from Prince of Wales Island International School, where they're coming on a weekly basis. You can come and volunteer in person, and we certainly need more people to help rescue cats, transport the cats to and from the vet or to wherever they're going to stay, and foster. We'd love to see more people take cats home and give them the kind of care isolated from the rest of the world so that they can really recover and get strong. So nursing, we would love to train more people and have people help in person at Cat Beach or take them home. And of course, adoption is the number one way that you can help cats. Online, we've got lots of work, research, designing posters and daily posts, and building an audience, doing creative projects. I find this idea of doing a live stream very creative and almost like doing a show. And I came from the theater, and so this is like I'm going to do my own show, and we're going to create these exciting events. And I hope over the years that we do this, we'll all get better and better at it. But in the meantime, we hope that the word about the need for care for cats and for Cat Beach gets shared. And you can help a lot with sharing. Please volunteer because you care. You care about cats, you care about any good cause, and you can use these same skills to give a gift. And you'll get a gift, the gift of love. Please donate. So here's some more volunteers working at Cat Beach. We have indoor spaces, lots of outdoor work as well. In the actual interior rooms, which are all very open air because it's right by the sea. So if you love cats and you like the beach or love the beach the way I do, come and volunteer online or in person. If you can't come in person, be a virtual volunteer. Collaborate, create posters, lots of things you can do. If you're good at IT, I'd love to hear from you because we're having lots of new things coming up, lots of great platforms. I'm trying to learn how to do all of these things. I've had computers since 1982, but it's moving fast these days. Organizing the Cat Beach administration, we think of cats, people, money, and then outreach or education and how we can reach out to the world. So again, that's a kind of virtual volunteering work that we would love to have your help. So if you have skills or you have interests to help the cats, like this wonderful woman who came and painted these wonderful cats now that have washed away but or been painted over. But we're going to restore them because they're so cute. Please consider donating your skills or your interests to help the cats at Cat Beach Sanctuary. All you have to do is be in touch by WhatsApp or SMS or phone call to the Cat Beach helpline, and we'll get you set up. So our topic today is Basic Cat Care 101. How to give your cat the best possible care, or the best care possible. And this is a picture of my Honey Bear. And Honey Bear was with me for 12 years, and she's been a great teacher. What I'm going to go over is basic cat care today, and we'll go into more depth, and another time we'll do more about medicine and grooming, and we've got lots of different things. Many of these things have already been created as videos, and we want to be able to share them with the world, and we hope that you'll donate in exchange. This was a slideshow made by some virtual volunteers, students from Sunway College, and I'm going to just show it now, and we'll go into it in depth in a little while. Come on. Oh, stability of this internet, sorry. I'm here in Thailand at it's now 10:23 Thai time, so 11:23 Malaysia time. It's nighttime in New York, daytime here in Asia. And I'm sorry about the stability of the technical things. Usually I have a pretty good connection, but today there's something wonky going on, I think because we just had a rainstorm. But I've got lots to share with you today. And let's see if I can get it to move forward. Honey Bear is my inspiration. I found her on a beach in Langkawi Island in Malaysia in 2012, and it's because of her maybe is the main reason that I returned to Asia, and that I returned to Malaysia with the idea of creating a life here in Asia. And we opened Cat Beach. I rented this house on the beach, and she not only survived, but she thrived there. And so that's part of why Cat Beach exists today. Is if she had not been happy there, I probably would have moved on, of course, taking her with me. And but she's held a special place in my heart, and I couldn't leave her behind. So Honey Bear wants to know, how can you give a cat the best life? If you already have a cat, I hope that you'll write to us and tell us about your cat and what you find to be successful with your life with a cat. Um, what are some funny things that cats do? What are some of the joyful things that we all can um, remember about cats? And that's one of the things that I believe Cat Beach is about, is that it's about cat fun and how wonderful it is to have cats in your life. I'm in Thailand in a condo right now temporarily, and I miss cats terribly. So I had to buy myself a pet toy here. So if you already have a cat, I hope that you'll be in touch and share with us and how your life was changed. Um, I miss her very much. But Honey Bear leaves a very special legacy, and that is this sanctuary, Cat Beach. So when you're thinking about having a cat, which I hope you'll come out to Cat Beach and maybe adopt a Cat Beach cat, you're going to have to make some decisions. And as it turns out, as I continue to do a lot of research and reading about cats, there are a lot of things that are controversial. You need to make some decisions, and we want you to know what the full information is. And in fact, it's changing all the time. We're seeing more and more research being done by scientists. We're finding organizations like um, Royal Canin and the Petco company, they are funding Maddie's Fund, they are funding research so that a lot of things are being updated. The old ways are falling away. Um, the ways that cats are cared for in shelters has changed radically in the last maybe 10 years. And certainly Cat Beach was part of that pioneering movement and still is. So when you adopt a cat, you're going to need to think about its daily care, what kind of supplies you need, how much it's going to cost, how much money you need to set aside for this cat. You need to decide about time. What time are you going to feed the cat? Are you going to feed it in the morning just once a day and then leave kibble out? Or are you going to feed it only at night, but again, leave them kibble out? Or talk to your doctor about what the ideal program is. We consider that most cats at home, in a private home, will need a small, maybe 1 tablespoonful of wet food in the morning, and again in the evening. These small cans that you can buy, they are good for that. Of course, we prefer to buy the big cans because the big cans can feed a lot of cats. Um, and then what is the nutrition? What is the food going to be like? You need to think about your work. If you're going to be away to go to work every day, if you're going to go on holiday, what are you going to do about your cat? So, what are your backup plans? Do you have other people who can help care for this cat that you have in your life? These are really important things in terms of cat care planning. So, one thing that I believe is an important thing to remember is the five um, things about cats. Cats live a fairly simple life. They need to eat, they need to sleep, they need to go to the toilet, they need to play or hunt, get exercise, and they need to love. And cats are very social. For the most part, most cats love being with other cats. They love even other animals. We've seen bonds between cats and fish, cats and dogs, cats and ferrets, cats and you name it. There can be a bonding experience. It depends on the personality and background of the cat, of course, but cats do bond in an extraordinary way, and that's one of the reasons why they have become such popular domesticated animals. So, what do you need for cats? You need the basics. You need Water, food, poop tray, bedding. Water, food, poop tray, bedding. We say it 5 times, you'll never forget it. Water, food, poop tray, bedding. Water, food, poop tray. This is the first lesson that we teach to anybody who comes to volunteer at CatBH, is that what we call our mantra. It's not really a mantra, but it's something that you can remember. And so then you go and you see a cage with cats in it, and you look. Does that cat have water? Is there food? And if there's not food, is there a reason? That would be maybe because the veterinarian says the cat has to have special food. But you want to look at every cage, every situation for a cat. And does it have these essentials? Whether it's an outdoor cat or an indoor cat, does it have access to water? Number one. This is the only reason I really get upset, is when cats don't have water. Does it have access to food? And then we'll get into that, wet or dry, or all kinds of different things. Does it have a place to go to the toilet? So we call them a poop tray, but it's also pee and poop tray. And does it have a bedding, some kind of place to lie down, place to get comfortable, walk around? These are all essentials to cats' lives. So basic supplies for you and your cat. And here the students have pulled together some pretty nice stuff that we talked about. Dishes. We want to have stainless steel or glass or ceramic, because plastic containers, they scratch, and then germs stay inside of the plastic container, and it takes bleach to kill them. Even the best detergent wasn't getting them out. You want to make sure that the cat has a litter box and it's big enough so that the cat can turn around, cover it up. Cats like to scratch and cover their poop and their pee. So we think that, and I agree with the students here that did this work, to avoid the covers, because although cats like to be inside of things, so that's cool. There's all kinds of litter that's available to you. And of course, we want scratching posts. We want a cat, and the cats love to be up. So there's a very basic cat instinct to be high and to be able to look around. I guess that's probably related to predator behavior. And so they want to be up if they can possibly be there. We love to give cats toys. We love to give them even catnip. You can make them go a little crazy with catnip. And probably the number one thing that you should think about before you adopt any cat is get it its own carrier. And so that it has a place that it can consider its cave, and we leave the carriers down so the cats can go inside, because sometimes they don't want to be part of the whole thing, and sometimes they do. As I said before, water to me is the number one thing that you have to be concerned about. Of course, you want it to be as clean as possible, although we see cats drinking out of the drains. We want to get fresh tap water, or that's been through the community cleaning service, or anything where the water is as clean as possible, and change it. So then, of course, they love moving water. If you can get a fountain going, that's even better. And a big, large bowl so that the cat doesn't have to bend their whiskers. And we want to make sure that those bowls are cleaned and sterilized. Use some bleach, and then rinse it off. And so that that cat water is as fresh as possible. There's a beautiful story. Today is part of the holy month of Ramadan. And there's a beautiful story that I've been told about the prophet, and how he drank the water after his cat had drunk from it. So that's kind of wonderful. And then there's a beautiful story that he found his cat, whose name was Muezzin, lying on his prayer robes. And instead of waking up the cat or disturbing the cat, he cut the sleeve off of the robe so that he wouldn't disturb his pet cat. And I think that kind of gentleness, that kind of consideration for cats, it's certainly, I see it as part of our Muslim community in the fishing village and the staff who are mostly of the Muslim faith, that kind of love, the donors who have given through the years, and make sure that cats get the attention and care that they need. So thank you to those who practice the Muslim faith for your caring love for cats. And for the rest of us all over the world with whatever beliefs we have, let's all be as kind to cats as the Prophet was. So in your home, you're going to have to think about where to put the water bowl. And the main piece of advice is keep it as far away from the toilet as possible. Wherever they go to the bathroom, should not be getting into their water. Cats are notorious for not drinking enough water. And so we see it at Cat Beach where they get dehydrated. And if they get dehydrated, then we try to rush them to the vet, but that's an hour drive. And sometimes we're just going to lose them if we can't get them to drink enough water. So dehydration is probably the second most common killer of cats. In most cases, wet food will provide a good amount of water for the cat's daily diet. Most cats, by eating wet food, will get about 80% of their water intake. That's again where we add extra water to the wet food. So it almost becomes a slurry. And certainly for kittens, that's the very best, is when they can have a slurry. They like the moving water. And we always try to ensure that every cat has access 24/7. Don't take 5 minutes is okay to go wash the bowl and get it cleaned up. Fine. But put that water back. Don't forget. Don't leave a cat alone with no water. And since we know what number 2 is, what do you think is the number 1 killer of cats? It's stress. And certainly not having water is a big stress. And that can be right there. That could set them up to pass away within a few days if you don't have access to clean, fresh water. Food is always an issue. And we greatly appreciate donations of food to the cats. Wet food can help keep teeth clean, and it's a good source of protein. Look at the contents on any food that you're feeding the cats. The sort of standard, which is really quite sad, is about 30% protein. Now, cats need protein. They're obligate carnivores. They have to have protein. So try to get as high protein content as you can. This is where the wet food with its high protein content can supplement the kibbles. The dry food is often 30% or less of protein. They don't need a lot of grain. They don't need a lot of carbs. It does help if you're consistent about when you're going to feed them so that they get to know it. And it's a great way to handle your community cats outdoors. You just come out at the same time, 5 o'clock every evening or 7 o'clock in the morning, and come out and put out some food. And you'll start to get to know the cats in your neighborhood, and they will get to know that that's feeding time, and they will come. But there's a lot of controversy about food, and certainly you have to keep on top of what's happening with in the industry. We do a lot of research about it and reading about it. And of course, at Cat Beach, we're just grateful if somebody would donate any kind of food. And we check it and make sure, because when you change a cat's diet, there's a tendency for the cat to get diarrhea or constipation. And so you have to change food fairly slowly. Our favorite is Tesco. It's the cheap kibble. And that it's the cheapest one out there, but it's also really useful. Um, so keep thinking about your cat's food. Talk to your vet. We always believe that, but remember that they have to have protein. Um, there's no such thing as a vegetarian cat. Cats need at least 2 to 5 tablespoons of meat per serving, and more or less. Certainly, some cats get quite obese. Other cats, as they get older, their diet changes. Little kittens need lots of calorie and lots of energy, and so do their moms. Moms often need extra calcium supplements because they're producing all this milk. And if they don't get enough calcium from their food, it starts leaching out of their bones and makes the mamas weak. So you want to make sure that they're getting all the vitamins and nutrition that they need. Things like taurine and L-lysine, which keeps down the respiratory infection. Another thing about cats is that they like to nibble. So our belief is that this idea of um, giving them 10 minutes to eat and then no more food, that doesn't work especially for rescue cats, because they've been starving, and it really makes them feel better if they know that there's 24/7, there's kibble available, there's some food available. They like to go over, nibble, maybe like half a teaspoon, and then they walk away, and maybe they'll come back again an hour later, nibble some more. This is how cats typically have behaved throughout history. And so this idea of placing cats on strict meal plans, um, that's something you need to really talk to your doctor about, your veterinarian. If your cat, for whatever reason, diabetes or obesity or has a kidney failure or whatever, then you're going to have to special diets. But caloric needs change as ages change, but the basic pattern for cats is nibble, nibble, nibble. Some carbohydrates are pretty good, especially if you have a cat with diarrhea, then rice can be really helpful. And that has been one of the issues with when you have a large number of cats, the way we'd have 300 plus or minus cats at Cat Beach, we need to look at how do we keep the diarrhea down. And believe me, when you have had times where we've had 40, 50 cats having diarrhea at once, and it's terrible because it was some kind of allergy or something was wrong with the food that they were being fed. But how do you get them back? Rice can be of great help, and so we do mix rice in, and that helps us to stretch the food. And pumpkin, a little bit of soft-boiled pumpkin, and can make a difference. And of course, we're going to talk about this in another time when somebody's asked us about diarrhea, and we'll talk about diarrhea. But chicken and boiled chicken can be helpful. Chicken and rice, a little bit of pinch of salt, and you've got a diarrhea antidote. So here's an example. This is a Cat Beach where we put out feeding stations, and we would love to have people come and help us clean them. But we'll put out kibble and fresh water. So you need to think about also, and again, it's important to talk to your vet because different breeds actually have different needs. So commercial cat food comes as wet, and it comes in pouches for the kittens. And now they have pouches for the adults, and that gets quite expensive, but we prefer the big cans. But wet food is really good for hydration. As I say, with the threat of dehydration, especially in the tropics where their cats get too hot, it's really important that they get lots of hydration. They get lots of protein from the wet food. The dry food is pretty good for cleaning their teeth. Now, of course, they're saying, please brush your cat's teeth. And we have 300 cats. There's no way we're going to be able to brush all their teeth. But give them good kibble, and they can also help with their digestion. And the cats just prefer it. Many cats would rather eat biscuits than eat the commercial canned food. So again, something to think about, free feeding. And people have there's lots of discussions online about, should I free feed, should I not free feed? My belief is, especially because we are dealing with cats that have been starving on the streets, it gives them a sense of security. It gives them a sense of somebody cares about them, and they don't have to fight, and they don't have to become aggressive or hide, or a lot of those behaviors will go away if they have the security of having food. So that's where we prefer to have lots of dry food out there for them in every cage, unless it's by reason of something else that the doctor orders. Every cage would have fresh water and fresh food so that the cats can eat 24/7. So these are the things that we are using up on a daily basis, and we really appreciate having them donated, particularly the cat cans. On the right-hand side, the kitten pouches. The little guys really need special diets, and especially as they're weaning, as they're going off of their mom and onto real food. And of course, we always need more newspaper. So food, raw, cooked, fresh, canned, you're going to need to make some decisions. And of course, partly you've got to think about the money. One thing that I feel is very important to be said in a tropical environment where we do have access to raw meat. On the beach, we have had wonderful fishermen go and throw nets or lines or netting with scoops and bring in fish that are just right out here, right outside and on the beach, because Cat Beach is literally on the beach. In fact, half the house has got sand underneath it. But if you feed raw, you can really introduce a lot of bad things like bacteria, worms. Most seafood has worms. Seafood also these days has mercury and other chemicals. Raw chicken, one of the things they talk about with your maintaining your kitchen is salmonella is all over chicken. And you've got to sterilize your counters and your sponges and your cooking equipment in order to prevent salmonella illness, because that bacteria can make cats really sick, and people can die from it too. So unless you're really prepared to learn how to do raw food preparation, I would stay away from it. That's the choice we've had to make. If it's raw, and we do every week, we get 10 chickens, so about 20 kg of chicken we go through every week, and that needs to be, it's frozen, and frozen food is good because over a period of maybe 7 days or more, most frozen food, the parasites will die and the bacteria will be reduced, and any kind of other contamination. So then we get it frozen and then we boil it. And so then that way we know that the cats are receiving pretty much germ-free food, and not introducing bacterial or parasite into their internal gut, especially those worms inside of the fish. Another thing you're going to have to think about, which is really important, is the poop tray. And I would not take a new cat home unless you've got a poop tray set up, and get them comfortable with where they're going to be allowed to go to the toilet. You can teach, and you can trust that most cats will be very well behaved about their toilet. They are the cleanest animals on the planet. They clean themselves. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about that. Commercial cat litter is really a new invention. It was invented in the 1940s, and you can get clumping and non-clumping, scented, unscented. Again, talk to your vet. Be really careful of young cats, say 6 months or even a year younger. Don't give them clumping cat food because they'll eat it. And then it'll get inside their tummies and their intestines, and it'll swell up, and it's really bad. So we suggest non-clumping, preferably unscented. The scenting is for you. But even we've seen the youngest little kittens, as soon as they can walk, they'll walk over to the newspaper or the box that they know that where their mom's gone, and they'll go to the bathroom. And of course, for all cats, it's true. If they don't have a clean toilet, they might go in inappropriate places. So please give your cat a toilet. So where are you going to put the toilet? What's the best place? We suggest, let's see if I can make this work. Our second mantra, no poop or pee in the land or the sea. And that's really important. We don't want, they have done some studies about marine animals where they've seen cat illness, especially toxoplasmosis, showing up in dolphins and whales that are off the coast. So we're not going to do that. We don't let that happen for the most part. And there's very little toxoplasmosis because we've had studies that we know that they don't have it. But we're going to put the toilet, you're going to put it away from the food, away from the water. But if you have an indoor situation, the experts say 1 litter tray per cat. If you have more than one cat, you're going to put an extra one in. And of course, it's easiest to have them in the bathroom because then you can just clean it up there on a tile floor. The cats will often tell you where they want to go, and oftentimes they kind of want to hide. They don't want to, as we do. We don't want the door open on the toilet, although oftentimes the cats will want to come in to the toilet with you. So watch your cats. Let them help determine where things should go. Again, if you are having trouble with these cats, whether there's outdoor cats or indoor cats, and you want to figure out a deterrent, citrus is one of the things that cats don't like. Vinegar, you can spray vinegar. You can even make them a sandbox, and very often they will go there. Otherwise, they may go in your garden because that's cool, because then they can hide under the plants. So put plants around your sandbox, and you've made a toilet, and that's doable for pretty much any community. So, but then it does need some maintenance. It needs to be pooper scooped, and preferably some bleach poured, or we often put down salt on our sand, and that will also help. So I miss this cat very much. Clumping or non-clumping, you do have the alternative of, especially cats that are incontinent, we put them in diapers. But just teach them where to go. You can add the sandbox. Notice that your poop trays, like your food bowls, we prefer metal. Plastic is also going to need to be sterilized. You got to put it into bleach. We line our poop trays with newspaper, or you can also use a paper plastic bag. That'll reduce the scratches, and it means you can just pick it up and empty it, and then you just scrub out your toilet tray and you're pretty much in good shape. There's all kinds of things you can add. You could just, clean some sand. We've done that where we boiled sand and put it in. You can shred up the newspaper. You can use a whole newspaper, which is what we do because there's too much work, when you have 100 cages to take care of. Wood chips are popular, and talk to your local pet store. They've got all kinds of cool things that you can use for toilets. We prefer newspaper, and sometimes we're able to get it for free. So we really appreciate it if you would donate, save up your newspapers and donate it to Cat Beach. We will use it in the cages. We will use it in the poop trays. We also want to give every cat that comfort of having a comfy bed. You can use blankets, and we use newspaper on the bottom, as well as in the poop trays. That makes it much easier to clean the cage. We don't have to scrub the bars every day. We just pick up the newspaper, and 2 times a day the newspapers in all the cages get changed. You could also use cardboard. We've done that too, where we put cardboard and then we put newspaper on top of it. We put a piece of cloth and plastic mats, lots of things that you can put that the cats are going to be standing on rather than standing on those horrible metal bars, which, it's designed so that the poop will fall through. Well, we'd rather have them use the poop tray than have them standing for the day on top of dirty poop. It's really not the best design. They do love it if you give them some cloth, something to sleep on, pillows. Very often we'll give them a cuddle toy that they'll sleep on, or a pre-made cat bed. There's so many things you can do, even towels. Just be careful if they keep catching their claws, particularly the little guys. But they all need a good place to sleep. Why? Because it's 16 to sometimes as long as 20 hours a day, cats sleep. And especially the mamas and the babies, they need to have a comfy place to be. And as I mentioned before, they like to be up high. So very often you can make a cat bed or up on a cat tree. You can put baskets or pillows. So we've seen people hanging baskets right by windows. It's really lots of things you can do to make a comfortable life for cats. Something you should be aware of if you've never had a cat is that they do need to scratch. And apparently they have some kind of coating on their nails that can get itchy. And so that's part of the motivation of why cats want to scratch. And your couches, your beds, your cabinets over time may end up with a lot of scratches on them. The deterrent is to give them good scratching pads, wrap up some posts with rope, spend a lot of money and buy a cat tree, and the cats will play in the box, the cardboard box. Give them a cardboard box, and they will scratch that. Please do not ever consider declaw. That is actually cutting off their fingers. So if you were to do that to a human, it would be just totally inhumane. Do not cut off. I don't know of any vets who do that, but obviously you would have to do it through a veterinarian. There are, again, as I say, there are things in the cat world that are very controversial. Things like bringing in a cat and saying, okay, veterinarian, please put this cat to sleep. I don't want it anymore. No euthanasia. We are no kill. And we will try to find a home for the cat. Or the cat can come to Cat Beach. So kitty comfort and soft blankets, toys. The cats may need them. We call it making biscuits. Give a cat a ball. What we've done so many times is just grab a piece of newspaper, crunch it up, maybe get a rubber band around it, and throw the ball. And the cat will go after it and be very happy. So lots of things you can do. It's really important that cats have an enriched and interesting life, and that's one of the things that we like about Cat Beach is there's always something going on, and there's the waves, and and luckily it's away from the cars and away from dogs, and it's an environment where we often laugh about this, but we have the largest cat toilet in the world, so there's not that competition, that stress about where am I going to go to the bathroom? Where am I going to get my food? Oh no, there's a dog barking. These kinds of stressors go away in the Cat Beach situation. But in an indoor environment, do be aware of all of those things that can be stressful and how you can make, through enrichment, you can make their lives so much better. So cats are social creatures, and in most cases they would love to be loved by humans. Usually cats, if as long as they've spent some time with humans before they are 12 weeks old, it's usually pretty easy to domesticate and to make bonds with cats. After 12 weeks, and we don't see much of this in Penang because it's such an enclosed environment in a sense. Every cat has exposure to humans, but certainly in many parts of the world, certainly in the United States, where I'm from, there are many feral cats that just are never going to be adoptable. They may be friendly, they might be willing to be petted, or certainly they might come when you put down food, but they're never going to be indoor cats or pet cats. And so there is a community of what we call feral cats, or what they call community cats, that live in your neighborhood. And they need to be cared for as well. And their bonds are with each other. And so they create these cat colonies. They are very social creatures. Now, to control the cat colonies, as the last line here says, spaying or neutering is essential. You need to get Every cat needs to be spayed or neutered unless you're doing some kind of special breeding. So here are the essentials of basic cat care. We can learn to live harmoniously. Cat lovers and cats get along really well, but there are lots of people who, maybe they're dog people, maybe they're anti-animal, maybe they just don't pay attention, but there are people out there who are abusive and who complain and even hurt cats, harm cats. So we need to learn to live harmoniously, and that can happen, whether it's outdoor feral colony cats or indoor pet cats. They all need these essentials. They need good, regular, nutritious food. They need comfortable places to sleep, safe places, so they're not going to be hurt. They need a clean toilet. They need a place where they can go to the bathroom and it's clean. And they will go to different places so that if they don't have a toilet, they need enrichment. They need to have mental stimulation. Cats are among the smartest animals on the planet, in the top 10 smartest animals on the planet. And they need to have their brains exercised. And they need positive interactions. They need love between humans and cats, between other animals and cats. And there's one more thing that helps to give a cat its very best life, and that is it needs proper health care. Pet cats especially, but any healthy cat needs veterinary care. And of course, any sick or injured cat obviously needs emergency veterinary care. But I'm talking about just the regular routine, care of your own cat. And what we think about is the vets are our partners. And they know, because they've spent the years studying, and of course, many people here at Cat Beach, we've spent some time looking at all of this material, but then talk with your vet. He's your partner or she's your partner. And every 1 to 3 months, depending on which product you use, your cat is going to need parasite treatment. And you think, well, this indoor cat, but do you want fleas in your house? Well, if it has, sometimes you can't even imagine how it would happen. Maybe a cat walked by outside the door of your apartment, but sometimes, or you are out one day working and you happen to pet a cat that you saw on the street, and you come back and you don't even think about it, but you just brought fleas in your home. So fleas, mites, ticks, ear mites, you can see a cat that's never been outdoors, and suddenly you look inside their ears and it's all black and yucky. How did it happen? Well, we don't know exactly, but you got to treat it. And not only that, but particularly as we talked about with the food, cats may end up with worms and parasites inside. So now they've come out with Broadline and Advocate and a few others as interior and exterior once a month spot on that you put on the back of a neck of the cats where they can't reach it. Flea sprays are available, very expensive sometimes. Dewormers, we believe that every cat needs deworm, and little guys, the babies, will die if you don't get rid of the worms. So at 2 weeks old, that's when they first start. And then every 2 weeks up until 12 weeks old, the little baby cats the kittens need dewormer. We use Wormnil, which is a mild version. For the older cats, we use Drontal, which is a little pill for sometimes 8 to 10 ringgit a piece, but then you cut it in 4, so you can feed 4 cats on one pill. Every cat should have vaccination. Inside cats, outside cats need an annual shot. And with kittens, it's 2 or 3 times in that first year, and then once a year after that. Why? We are seeing epidemic disease among the cat population. And weirdly, at the same time that COVID hit the human population in Penang, and I understand through other parts of Malaysia, this cat parvovirus has emerged, also known as panleukopenia. It was not around it hasn't been around except in the last couple of years. Dog parvo we've heard about, and we've seen that the studies show that in Malaysia and Brazil, there's a lot of places where the soil is contaminated, mostly because people's dogs die, or a dog dies, maybe a free roaming dog, gets buried, and it's in the soil. So we don't want that ever to happen. So again, I want to say, do not bury your animals, particularly if they are obviously sick. For the cats, this has proved so fatal and so difficult to fight that many of the veterinarians on the island of Penang, anyway, have now designated special rooms to quarantine or isolate the cats that are really sick with parvovirus, because it's so contagious. And if you get it in your home, or if you pet a cat and you didn't know it had parvo and you get it on your clothes, that's called fomites, and you could carry it to another cat, to your pet cat at home. So even your pet cats at home that you think are so safe are vulnerable. So, and it can be just totally random. Maybe you sat down in a restaurant or a hawker stall and you had some lunch and a cat walked by. Maybe you never even touched it. You don't know. This stuff is so contagious. So again, that shot, that injection, vaccination, and booster shots can save cats' lives and reduce the contagion and stop the epidemic. Another thing that's really important is that every cat at 6 months or older should be sterilized. We've had weird excuses why people don't sterilize, but mainly it's because it's expensive. We have a program that can help you with that. But at the age of 6 months or older, spay your females, castrate your males. Why? Because there's an explosion of cat populations, and particularly when people are nice and support the cat colonies, they just get bigger and bigger. And there's a lot of unwanted kittens out there. So how do we solve this problem? Well, our little step-by-step attempt is about 3 years ago. Windsor Animal Hospital reached out to us. And so we created Operation Snip Snip. So if you have a rescued cat, if you've gotten this cat off the streets, or you're willing to go out and help capture the cats in your neighborhood, register with Cat Beach on the Cat Beach helpline, and the phone number is right there. You can also find this on our website. And we will make an appointment for you with Windsor Animal Hospital. Now, normally to get a mail done, I think the government vets are charging $125. Females I've seen as much as 300 ringgit. And then if there's any complications, that's medication on top. But anyway, this program, Windsor is only charging 75 ringgit for males, 125 for females. We also hope that you'll donate so that Cat Beach can afford to get more cats done. Well, it's now a little after 11 here in Thailand, noon in Malaysia. And we're going to have a slideshow. I'm just going to do this quickly, and I'm going to play you a video that we have. And we want you to know that there's all kinds of things that you can do to take care of cats. And we'll go into them in more detail on future Cat Talks. Welcome to part 2 of our cat care. And we're going to have part 2. And we're going to stop now. And we'll come back with part 2.
And we're going to be talking about cleaning